Please, sir.
Still on cyber?
Yeah.
Do you have a comment on the story today about the less than stellar record of the State Department regarding cybersecurity, particularly under ex-Secretary Clinton's time, but also continuing into Secretary Kerry's tenure?
Sure. A couple of things I'd like to say, actually, to that, Brad. So I would say just overall we disagree with the characterization of our cybersecurity program in that article that you mentioned. The department has a very strong cybersecurity program. As I think I said in the article, that we successfully defeated almost 100% of the 4 billion, and I'll say that again, 4 billion attempted intrusions that we experience each year. And that's an important point, guys. It's an important point that sets us apart, I think. We are an outward-facing agency. We are a target. So we get lots of attacks on a daily basis. Well, not on a daily basis, on a nonstop basis. So that's another, I think, important element here is that, there's the Federal Information Security Management Act, which is I think the acronym is FISMA. It's very important, but it is process-oriented, and compliance is judged on meeting the process and not on the program's actual results. That is, or i.e., if the data is actually protected. What we have in place is a system of continuous monitoring, so 24/7, and we have certainly ratcheted up our compliance with FISMA and are making strong progress there as well. But and then I'll stop, I promise. But during, as you mentioned, during former Secretary Hillary Rodham Clinton's tenure, we did commence on a plan to implement continuous monitoring of IT systems. That has continued after her departure. But, something that was overlooked in the article, at least, is that states served as the model for DHS's continuous diagnostic and mitigation program, which is now being rolled out to agencies government-wide. Are we perfect? No. Do we have progress to make? Certainly. But I wouldn't characterize our program as lacking as was put forth in the article.
But Mark, the descriptions and the low scores for the cybersecurity wasn't the article's creation. Is that correct? That came from government audits that put you very low on the scale. Is that not correct?
Well, again, some of these are related to, as I talked about, the FISMA.
Reasons for that, but you may have reasons for that, but it was the government itself that gave you these scores.
Sure, and some of the allegations made were certainly made as part of Inspector General reviews on our systems and processes. That is their role to play. And I would just say sometimes we're in agreement with the Inspector General's assessments, but sometimes we're not. And this is certainly, I think, a case where we're not in agreement. We believe we're making progress. Please, in the back. I can take a couple more questions, guys. Sure thing, Harsha.
It was nearly 100%. Was it like 99%?
Yeah, it is. I can get it's like 99.5%.
Because let's suppose it's 99.5%. Because I did the math. That would be like, that mean that you failed. If there were 4 billion attacks, that means you failed in the case of 2 million attacks.
I think it's... Darn mathematicians. It's very high up. I think the only thing that we admittedly, there was a Russian phishing, what do they call it? Help me out here, guys. Spear phishing, thank you so much. Spear phishing that was successful, but only insofar as it permeated our emails, but not into any kind of databases or anything like that. And that, frankly, was picked up by continuous monitoring. But it's that's the human element to this stuff. Is you can't although we educate people all the time, we have continuous education programs going on. You click on, as we all know, a link that you get in your email account, and that's what spear phishing is. Please.
Can I ask one other quick one?
I'll try to get clarity on exactly how many.
Yeah, 4 billion is a very big number.
It's a big number.
99%.
You're right.
Okay. One other thing, and hopefully.
Yes.